Anyone who says how can you worry about the economy instead of human life is incredibly privileged. Only someone who has never been without money would think such a thing. The economy impacts human life at least as much as the pandemic. The health outcomes for being homeless are literally worse than the health outcomes for catching coronavirus, so I completely fail to understand how forcing potentially millions of people into a position where they may wind up out on the street is good for public health. My partner just got laid off due to coronavirus shutdowns. We have been poor for the past decade, and the only family on either side who provides any support whatsoever is my single mom on a schoolteacher's salary, who has my 4 younger siblings to consider as well. We have no savings. We're on Medicaid. We were on food stamps until recently. I am not earning, I'm in medical school and living off student loans. She has another job lined up starting this summer, thank God. But until then it's going to be really difficult. We got literally down to my last dollar over the winter before I got my spring semester loan disbursement and before she started the job she just lost. Had to ration food for a week or 2 and delay paying bills. If the financial assistance currently being deliberated in Congress doesn't pass, we will likely have to do that again by the beginning of May. And we are lucky compared to many people. I can potentially get more loans through my school in an emergency. I'm maxed out, but they've said they are making exceptions for some people impacted by coronavirus. Even though my mom has almost no money to spare, she could possibly loan a little money for food here and there, and my partner has a job lined up this summer in an industry which is not impacted by coronavirus shutdowns, healthcare. We also have a few possessions, like the computer I'm typing this on, which we could theoretically sell if things got really bad, but then again, if the economy's collapsed, who's gonna be buying? Back when we were even poorer, I was not tied to an institution, and our rent/bills were higher. This sort of shutdown would have put us out on the street. We actually did have several stretches where we had to live in my mom's tiny, moldy basement. Without her support, things would have been very bad, and I really feel right now for the millions of people who don't have any support. Anyone who thinks that the economy is not important has never been in this sort of situation. The economy is human life. No economy equals no jobs equals no healthcare, no rent, no house, no food. It gets pretty difficult to flatten the curve by staying inside when you start getting more and more people without homes to shelter in. If you think living in homeless shelters and surviving on food stamps is perfectly fine, which, if you've been on food stamps, you know are supplemental, not intended to pay for all the food you will need, then yeah, I guess the economy collapsing doesn't matter much. But you would only think such a thing if you've never been put in that position. The amount of privileged people criticizing anyone who even mentions the economy right now just astounds me. Edit, too many posts to keep up with. Here are my thoughts. To everyone who agreed with me, you're not crazy. It's okay to think this might be an overreaction, and to be worried about the economy. I was really encouraged by a lot of your comments, and I hope you were encouraged by mine. Still take the health precautions seriously though, people. I'm advocating that we focus on testing as fast as possible, and once we can determine who's had the virus already, etc., we start sending as many people back to work as we can, keeping the vulnerable isolated until we know it's safe. I am not advocating fuck the restrictions, let's go lick toilets. I'm not gonna die from it, so who cares? Social distancing, washing your hands, and staying at home or away from public places as much as you can are all good ideas right now. To everyone who attacked me, said I shouldn't go into medicine, said I don't care if people die, said the economy is just fake numbers or is just the stock market or isn't as important as human life, you murderer, you are exactly the type of people my post is complaining about. Shutting down a conversation is not productive. We should all be listening to each other right now. Screaming at people who have a different opinion than you doesn't make you enlightened, it makes you hysterical. The panic is getting to me too, I get it. We all want to fix things and save as many people as possible, and the new reality is pretty terrifying. The pressure to do the right thing is enormous. But staying calm and treating people with respect is the best response right now, not screaming down people you disagree with, calling them threats to public health, and saying they want death. Fighting panic with panic is like fighting fire with fire. To everyone who disagreed, gave reasons why, and engaged in debate, even if you disagreed very strenuously, thank you. That's exactly what I think should be happening right now. Debate is what we need. Let's all give our best arguments for what we should do, and examine each other's arguments and try to find flaws. That's the way we will collectively figure out what's best. I may disagree with you, but us hashing things out will ultimately reveal the way forward. I 100% agree with you on this. Celebs are especially culprits, telling the general public to stay indoors. If I stay inside, my family won't eat. Ariana Grande has been especially annoying throughout this pandemic. Hard to quarantine yourself if you are homeless. Both are unacceptable. But privilege is relative. People are actually dying, and those of us who aren't currently dying have the privilege of worrying about the economy. The layoffs are bad. Imagine being me, 2 months from graduating college, trying to get a job in an already saturated new grad market, only to now have a surge of recently laid off folks with experience already that will likely settle for an entry-level program. It could be a hell of a lot worse, though, so I try to keep my complaining to a minimum. I have spent my entire life dirt poor, but I far more worried about human life than I am the economy. I suppose I am so used to living with hardly anything, I know I can survive with next to nothing. However, I am not sure I could survive losing my loved ones, or even getting the virus myself. All these people clearly have no idea what it's like to live paycheck to paycheck. I'm not scared of corona, I'm scared of being kicked out of my house. So are people who claim the economy is more important because not everyone is healthy enough to fight this virus. You might have a chance to survive this virus, but for people with compromised immune systems like me, our chances are grim. The way I see it, if we have to risk dying, why aren't you willing to take the same risk? I give people about 4 weeks before they change their priorities. People are doing the socially responsible people now, but when more people can't pay the rent, sorry grandma, it's definitely an extremely complicated issue. People's lives shouldn't be taken lightly, period. That includes people suffering from the disease and people suffering from the economic fallout of the disease. There seems to a false dichotomy going around where you have to pick one or the other, the virus or the economy. It doesn't have to be that way. We have many smart people in the US who should be putting their brain power together to find a way to handle both issues at the same time. It won't be perfect. There is no perfect answer. But we can do both to some degree. People here for the good of the economy and they think economy equals bajillionaire CEOs. Reality, the ultra-rich are going to be just fine after all this. Meanwhile, members of the middle class and small businesses are going to take a huge hit, one that may be lasting. Sorry, but #not dying for Wall Street is extremely ignorant and tone deaf. I dislike this idea that just sending everyone back to work and saying fuck it is supposed to be a way to help poor people. Going back to work for maybe 2 more paychecks before you catch the virus yourself and are unable to get treatment because all the hospitals will be at maximum capacity is not the way forward. You know what really fucks up the economy? Everyone fucking dying. Also, I would bet that landlords are not about to start spending thousands of dollars and go through the exhausting legal process of kicking out every single person on their property knowing that no one else will be able to rent it. The most effective way to keep both the people and the economy safe is to get rid of the virus. Interesting opinion coming from a future doctor. States can declare certain businesses non-essential, but the fact is that even if the products or services they provide aren't essential, the jobs they provide are. Generally speaking, the people who want you to stay inside are also the people who want to get you economic relief so that you don't have to go to work and risk getting yourself or others sick. And the people who want to open everything back up as soon as possible for the sake of their portfolios don't care if you die. There's really no hypocrisy. One side cares about your health and your wallet, the other side doesn't care about either. Why can't I care about both? This post treats the two issues like they are independent. They are not. If millions of people are sick and people are dying on the streets, which may sound crazy but is possible, then the economy will crumble anyway. If you try to prevent it now, the economy will collapse now, but the population may be in a better place to respond afterwards. No one knows exactly what will happen either way, but I can tell you allowing life to carry on normally will not prevent the economy from collapsing. Being homeless for a few months won't kill you. I've done it. Spending the later half of a Minnesotan winter in your car fucking blows. I'm fine. The health outcomes associated with homelessness you're thinking of are likely chronic homelessness. Crashing on a couch or in a car won't give you hepatitis or whatever illness you're worried about. You're also getting unemployment benefits through your state, $600 on top of that from the government, and a direct cash payment. You're getting more money than you would from your regular job. Even if you ended up homeless in the lag time between being out of work and getting assistance, you'll be pretty fine making more money doing nothing than you were working. This virus will likely kill people close to me if they catch it. I have neighbor I'm close with cancer, and my stepdad is old and in poor health. The economy will get worse if we don't do this quarantine. Don't blame the economy for your suffering here, blame the absolute fucking bungling of the response. Rent and mortgage could have been suspended, unemployment subsidies could have been enacted much faster, we could have did the whole basic income thing faster, and we could have taken it seriously when the virus got here. Things wouldn't have been so bad. You'll survive being poor, many people won't survive having this virus. You call people entitled BC, they don't want people to die. I was ignorant to what the real problem was before I talked with a professional accountant, and after they explained it I understood the long-term importance of keeping the economy alive. Sure, we can give everyone some money and they'll be happy for a couple weeks, but if you give businesses money to operate and pay employees through this pandemic, that will do more in the long run. I'm no genius, but that's how I understood it.